Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. If you've been following my videos or you're a subscriber, you've seen that somebody pulled out in front of me and I smashed the whole front quarter panel, blah blah, of my car. I got a parts car, and this is a bumper that was on the parts car, which is uglier than sin. Before I had a M5 style bumper on there, and I really liked the way it looked. So I picked up another one. Now, if you get a true M5 bumper, you want to put it on your 540. It's a 540 6-speed M Sport. You're probably talking a couple $1,000s. Now you can find the replicas, aftermarkets for about $160, $70. And you got to do a little bit of fitting with them, but that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. So we're going to go through the whole process. A few things need to be done to the brake ducts for the cool the brakes, and a few other things. So we go through the process, see what it takes to change it. And also got a actual M5 bumper for the rear. Now that's fiberglass, so I'm going to be changing that too. Now that needs a little bit of work, and we'll go into that. But first thing we're going to do is go ahead and swap out this front bumper. Okay, so the front bumper, this is what you get. You get a basic bumper, and you can see it's got the places for your undercovers, but there's no hardware on it. You got to remove the hardware from your old one. Now this, they give you fog lights for it, and you'll see these pieces just pop out, and they give you a grill that you can attach to it. But it's pretty good finish, actually. I mean, there's for what you get, comes out of a mold. But you do have to, I'm going to sand it and prime it, and I'm going to get around to painting the whole car later. So what I'm going to do too is take these covers off. And if you see there's a place here, a little groove that you can start, just take a plastic thing and they just pry right off. And you can just go around and pop those off on both sides. So next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to sand it real good and spray some primer on there before I stick it on the car. So we're going to do that next. So the front one, you pop your plastic things off of here. Now I had stuck some screws in here just to hold it on there because I wasn't planning on using this bumper. But you can see the hole here, and there's holes, they'll have plastic clips in them. And then what you got to do is anything that's your covers that are underneath, you need to unbolt those. And also in the wheel well cover, there'll be some little clips and sometimes a screw. But that's pretty much all that's holding it on here. So you take those little things off of there, and the whole thing will slide off, and I'll show you how it slides on there. So after you've taken all your clips out the front, you can see this piece right here. On the bumper it has a thing, and actually it just slides in. Now this is half cracked up. This is a piece of junk bumper. But that will just slide in. And then the clips in the front hold it in place. And that's basically all that's holding the front cover on there. So it's just a piece of plastic anyway. Now, nice thing about this, if it's something you'd like to do, but you don't have any painting skills or you don't want to paint your car, you can take the new one to an auto body shop and have it color matched and painted, and then you can just stick it on there. Anyway, it's a really nice upgrade. You'll see how nice this looks once it's on there. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and get the other one ready to put on here. So to put your grill in, it's just got these little tabs right there, and then you get these washers, these little spring clips, and the clips just slide down over, to hold it on there. What I was talking about earlier with the fog light, and I think I forgot to mention, make sure you unplug your fog lights on your old bumper. So this piece holds a light, and that comes out. That just has two clips here on the end. And leave these out until you mount your bumper and everything. Then you can put your light actually goes inside here, and then you just clip the whole thing in place here and plug it in. So we're going to put the rest of our spring clips on, and then we're going to slide the bumper in place and work with it some more. So you can see what I generally do is I start the one side on, the other side started on. And then if you come over here and look, you can plainly see the slides here and your clip here. So you just have to slide that on there and get it all sit on there right. So we're going to go ahead and do that so it's sitting in place. So what you do, you got these little clips and these pins are sticking in the ends of them. And what I do is I pull the pins out and stick these parts in there first. Just push them all the way in, and there's some adjustment here back and forth a little bit. But yeah, tap those in and then go ahead and put your pins in. So we're going to do that next, and then this outside piece will just clip right back on here to cover it up. So next thing we do is we put in our lights. Now the light will just basically slide in there, and there's a little screw hole back here. Now I remember before I put a screw in there, bolting a nut, and then I had a hard time getting the trim ring on there. But once the trim ring snaps in place, it does not move, but it's up to you. But then the trim ring, you got to work at it a little bit, will just slide right back on there. Like I say, it's a little bit of finesse. And what I did is I got me a, if you live in a state that you have to have a front tag, and in this state they're really picky. They love giving you tickets for it, and there's no place to put one. So I got me one of the tow hook bumpers. You can find them on the internet everywhere. So anyway, that is the way the car looks with the new bumper. I think it's a much better looking car. Keep watching. I'm going to do the rear bumper next, and you'll see how that looks, which is going to be a big improvement too. But for the amount of money, if you can do it, you know, it's not a perfect bumper, but like I say, keep watching. We're going to do the rear, so stay tuned. So this is the M5 bumper I picked up. The M5 is truly a fiberglass bumper. Now I got it cheap, but it's got, you can see there's a crack along here. There's a couple little star cracks in here. The corner's chipped. And it's got a chip over here. So I'm going to go ahead and take the cover off and go ahead and fix it, reinforce it with fiberglass. So I'm going to go ahead and work on that next, and you can see how we do that. So the rear bumper is held on there different. You almost have to take it off this way. This is the way I got it. I still haven't removed the bumper from my car. But you can see there's little clips right here. There should be like some here too, but they're not. There's one here, and then there's clips on the other side. And once you have the bumper clipped onto your actual bumper, the bumper cover is clipped onto the actual bumper, you can't get to them. So these clips, you can see this one's half pulled out. You just pull the center out, and then you can pop the whole clip out. Now if you're going to take your bumper off, I'd recommend buying a couple packs of clips. They're cheap, and you break them taking it out, and you know, they're not like a standard clip that you can get at an automotive parts store, or I've never found them there. So you gotta like get them on the internet or something like that. But you know, have a couple packs of them. It's not worth, you know, having everything apart and saying, damn, like I can't put it back together because I don't have any clips. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and pop all these clips off and take the actual bumper off the cover and see what we got inside there. Okay, so I took the ballast loose. There's just like a screw down in each spot here, and then there's clips that go in the bottom so I can see it better. And as you can see, it's like broke here, so I'm gonna have to re-fiberglass that in. These I sanded some. They just look like surface cracks, and it looks like this may have even been patched before somebody bumped into it or something like that. This one over here is a little bit troubling. These don't show up on the inside, but this one, the corner has been fixed before. So I'm going to go ahead and prep the inside. I'll show you what we got to do, and then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to reinforce this all through here with fiberglass anyway, and I'm going to redo the inside of this. The other side doesn't look like anything really, so we're going to do that next. So I just took an angle grinder with a flap wheel on it. You can see I roughed it up in here. Now what somebody did over here I don't quite understand. I sanded the top a little bit, but it looks like they stuck a piece of metal in there. That's not fiberglass. I don't know what they fixed it with. So I'm going to kind of dig all that out and try to put fiberglass over top of it. See where we go. The metal down this end rusted out, but it's still here, but not very good. So that's probably why it re-cracked. So I'm going to go ahead and get as much of that out as I can, and then I'm just going to lay flat strips across here. You can see how I do that. So, and then this one too. So we're going to go ahead and do that next, and then move on to what's left. Okay, so here's what I did. First thing you want to do is go find fiberglass resin. You can find it at any this is a Bonnet brand, but they're all pretty much the same. Home Depots, Lowe's, automotive parts store, and get some fiberglass mesh, and I cut it into strips ahead of time. Now that's just one coat. What you do is you go ahead and mix according to instructions, and I just use these little plastic cups. Mix the Bondo and hardener according, or the fiberglass and hardener according to instructions. Paste a coat on there, paint a coat on there with a throwaway brush, and then stick your mesh on there. Now you got to make sure your mesh is all the way down in any little nooks and cannies, and you know it's good and tight. Just keep tapping on it and brushing it lightly. If there's any bubbles underneath of it, that will be a place that you don't have any strength. So after you get it stuck on there, then you can go ahead and put another slim coat over top of it. So I did the same thing here in the corner. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this 2 or 3 times and put 2 or 3 different coats on there. And in the corner I'm going to cross it over the other way to give it a weaving effect to give it more strength. But the reason you use disposable brushes and all too, by the time the one layer hardens, you know, the brush is trash. So I just buy a big pack of disposable brush and use it over again. And there's my start for my part that holds my ballast on. And I'm going to build that up more, work with that a little bit. So we got to let this set up. We're going to stick another coat on there, and we'll keep moving from there. So in order to remove the rear bumper, if you look down here by your battery, you can see right here there's 3 bolts. You got to take those loose, and then you have to take your back cover off, and it's just got plastic clips in there. If you take the plastic clips out just along the top of it, and you have to remove your cover for your battery, it'll wiggle out of there. And then there's 3 bolts over here on the other side. Now 2 of them you can get to relatively easy. One of them you're going to have to open up your panel for your stereo to get to it. But you take those 3 out, and the whole thing, those are the shocks, the whole thing will slide off. So I set my bumper thing back down in here. Now I just have to put my clips in, clip it back in place. So there's top and the bottom. I think I'm going to put all of them back in. Somebody can put them back in. Well, anyway, we're going to put those back in and take the 6 nuts off, slide the old one off, and you'll see how it goes when we go to put the new one back on. Okay, so the bumper's off. You can see these clips here. They're pretty much the same thing. It's a slide-on wedge type clip. There's 3 push pins, same style push pins, got the little clips in there that go in the fender well. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my new one and slide it on there, see what I got. So there's the M5 bumper on there. Actually, it wasn't as bad as I think it might be. It comes off and on pretty easy. Of course, the red and the blue don't go good together. Anyway, I got to bring my exhaust tips out. If you're interested in seeing how to put dual exhaust on your 540, if you've ever thought about it, you know there's spare tires in the way. I still have my spare, but I also have dual exhaust. Subscribe, I got a video explains how to do that. Anyway, I hope this helps you out. I think the car's going to look back good once I get it painted. You have a pleasant day. Thank you for watching.